Nigeria faces the challenges of population growth, food security, and industrial inefficiencies. The nation seeks ways to fully transition into a digital economy and harness the potentials of technology. And there is no better place to start than within the agricultural sector. And this is why today we'll be asking the question, how can automation and robotics boost food production and transform the critical industries in Nigeria? This will be the form our discussion will be taking today. We're going to be looking at this as the central theme of this discussion. So you're welcome to the beam where curiosity meets conversations, taking us a step further into the future we desire. I'm Sunis Nathaniel, and today we are diving into the topic, could automation and robotics, could they be able to help the economy and change Nigeria's future when it comes to that digital economy which we all have been longing for? I'm sure you're asking yourself, is this very feasible? And are we really going to get the impact that we really desire? All right, I won't be the one doing all the talking today. I have somebody who's a groundbreaker in this field, and he's none other than Nathan Nwachukwu, the co-founder and chairman of Theah Hoptics, a leading drone manufacturer in Africa who efficiently has continued to use drone productions as one of the major producers in all of Africa, making mega commercial contracts. Nathan will be shedding some light on the role of automation and robotics in transforming Nigeria's key sectors. Mr. Nwachukwu, you're welcome.
Thank you. Lovely to be here.
All right, let's get into that whole space of automation and robotics. I mean, for the records, let's be very clear. This is a 21-year-old who has two companies. First, he started Class, which is an online educational platform. And then now we're talking Theah Hoptics, which has to do with automation and robotics. For those who might not know you, what is the story behind this 21-year-old who dropped out of Carleton University in Canada to run such big operations? Give us something in 2 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a crazy few years. I started, my journey in tech basically started about 6 years ago when I was 15. You know, I had an accident that made me blind in my right eye. That put me out of school for a few months, basically, you know. But that entire experience made me realize that, you know, when you're young, you feel you're invisible. You feel like you have all the time in the world. But that near-death experience, it made me realize that there has to be more to life, basically. You know, I don't have all the time in the world. And that sort of gave me this great sense of urgency, this great sense of purpose. And that was basically when I started my tech journey, because I realized that I can't be waiting till I'm 20-something, 30-something to kind of get started with my ambitions. So yeah, I went on, I finished from high school, and then I had an admission and half scholarship to go to Carleton University to read software engineering. Now, due to some stuff like, first of all, the economic reasons, you know, though it was a half scholarship, I mean, the other half was still really expensive. And second, you know, I just felt like there has to be more, you know, that I can't just see myself going for 5 years. I felt like I could do more, and I could learn this in a much shorter time frame. So I convinced my mom, who, by the way, is a professor. So you can imagine how that conversation went.
I can imagine.
I convinced her that I want to sort of take a gap year. I said a gap year first. That I want to take a gap year to sort of just figure out what I want to do with my life. I took that. I started teaching myself software engineering. That first year, did that the second year, and towards the end of the second year, that was when I started working on all sorts of projects. There was nothing I did not build, which most of them failed, until I landed on a project called Class. Yeah. And at first, Class was meant for the blind and visually impaired people, but I eventually sort of made that a more general platform to sort of help improve the online schooling experience. 2 years down the line now, Class has over 700,000 users globally. We have raised $1.3 million in funding, and I had started Class back then when I was 18. So yeah, Class today is one of the most successful edtechs in Africa today, and it's been a crazy journey. Then last year, sometime towards the ending of last year, I started to think of, okay, Class is good, it's doing great, but I want to solve a more pressing, a more critical problem that is affecting Africa. You know, Africa today is sort of going through, I like to call it its pre-industrialization stage, where a lot of our core industries today are losing billions of dollars every year from both inefficiencies, insecurity, and lack of automation. How can we solve that? Without using foreign systems, which are way too expensive. They don't care about after-sales service, and it's just hard enough to get the volumes that we need to industrialize Africa. And that was when me and my co-founder Maxwell Maduka, we landed on Theah Hoptics. So at its simplest form, basically, Theah Hoptics is a company that is trying to help solve Africa's crippling insecurity and automation crisis with autonomous technology. And the first set of tech that we are focused on right now is drones. So Theah Hoptics is just 9 months old. In 9 months, we have opened the largest drone factory in Africa, in Abuja here. We have built and developed our flagship products, and we have won over $1 million in commercial contracts.
All right, that's that. I mean, that leads us right into the heart of the matter. Yeah, I know you started off defense-wise, but we're going to come to the defense part of this whole operation, right? Now, let's go into how does automation and robotics and the drones and the kind of stuff you do. How can it help boost production when it comes to, we need food. The population is growing, right? Yeah. So how does it help boost that production? Yeah. How does it give the extra thick to the agricultural sector in Nigeria?
So when we sort of launched Theah Hoptics, we sort of saw that a lot of our initial customers were always from the agricultural space, and most of them are sort of using our systems for either securing the farmlands or to help complement the farmers' work. So stuff like, for example, our crop spraying drone, Horizon, which is currently in pilot testing with a few customers, it's able to sort of spray. In one of our tests that we did, we sprayed a 0.6 hectares farm in just 3 minutes.
Wow, 0.6.
Yeah, and now you can imagine sort of deploying hundreds of those sort of drones covering at an industrial scale, covering this large-scale commercial farming.
Massive farmland.
These are the ways that we can help boost food production. There's only so much that the human body can do and can take, and especially with our existing smallholding farmers, how can we also help them get back to the farms? The problem is that they don't know when these bandits and all that are coming to the farms. They also don't know how to stop these bandits, but we can. With our surveillance drones, with our sentry towers, these are systems that can be deployed to farmlands across the country, securing these farmlands and also ensuring that our farmers can go back to what they do best and what they love.
So again, it's beautiful that you are taking us back to the central theme, which was defense, right?
Yeah.
And then the recent news report suggests that you guys are out of the defense market. And the question will be, what took you guys out?
Well, I think for us, it was two things. We realized that first of all, we wanted to help improve the insecurity problems. That doesn't mean that we want blood on our hands. So it was more for ethical reasons. We don't want our systems to be used for waging war, whether it's against civilians or against other smaller countries. Then second, it was also for an economic reason. If you're selling to defense, you're basically just selling to Nigeria and her allies. If you're selling commercially, you're selling to the world. So yeah, economically, it also made sense. So yeah, ethically and economic reasons were basically the two major drivers to how we stepped out. Okay. We may come back in the future, but I
was gonna drive at that.
Yeah,
okay.
We may come back in the future, but it all depends on how things develop from here.
Okay, so in your own assessment, what would be the potential for Nigeria going full automation, full robotics, service delivery wise, and I'm looking at it from the job creation, that retention of job, rather than where people say, oh, this might cost us our job. What would be your view as regards that?
I think, going full automation, full robotics, basically, it's really, really great for Nigeria. And I think it's going to create more jobs than it takes away. So yes, I do agree that some sort of low-end jobs would be taken. But a lot of high-end jobs will be replaced with that, because what constitutes the development of these systems? Stuff like software, system engineering, technicians, all that. We need all these people that are doing sort of unproductive work to go up that ladder. We could train people to actually help build and manage and run these systems. This is great for not just improving the technical capital of the country, but even for exporting of technical talents. I mean, we're seeing what is happening in India, in Turkey. These are places where boosting the automation and drone industry has been a national priority. And because of that, now you're seeing that has led to an increment in the number of people studying engineering, for example. So all in all, it's going to actually help create more jobs, help create more opportunities, and just help Nigeria become a much more advanced society.
All right, we're going to hold it there. We'll be going on a break, and when we return, we'll be digging deeper into the ethical concerns, and barriers that companies like Theah Hoptics might be facing, and how to overcome them, even as we look further into new ways that automation and robotics can transform critical industries in Nigeria. Don't go away. Stay with us. Right, welcome back. You're still watching The Beam, coming to you live from our studios in Abuja. Mr. Nathan Nwachukwu, the chairman of Theah Hoptics, is still here with me, and we're still discussing how automation and robotics can transform Nigeria's critical sectors. Mr. Nwachukwu, let's come back to that aspect of business where people are saying, hey, it's not really profitable to do business in Nigeria, right? But you have just opened what could be the biggest, drone factory here in Abuja. And you're looking at manufacturing being low production cost and output being on the high level. How are you breaking even? How does that balance out?
I think, when you look at, especially running like a hardware manufacturing company in Nigeria, it all depends on who your end users are, basically. If you're sort of selling to the regular population and all that, I mean, yes, it's going to get harder to break even. We don't sell to individuals. We don't sell to the regular population. We mostly sell to larger businesses. And also we export a lot. So I think that sort of gives us that edge. Also, in terms of our manufacturing, 75% of all the raw materials used in the production process is locally sourced. I mean, outside of things like sensors and the rest, the entire airframe is built and molded here. Stuff like the batteries, the software that powers our drones is also developed by Theah Hoptics. So by the time the more you could vertically integrate that production line, the cheaper it gets in the long run, to run. And I think for me, I just see if everyone is running from Nigeria, who is going to save it? I can understand why some people may not want to stay here due to the kind of current economic situations. Maybe they have families or something. I'm a young guy. I'm just 21. I have nothing to lose. So I mean, why not? Why not give it one big swing and let's see if we could help accelerate the industrialization of Nigeria.
So many parents. I mean, I just heard that statement now.
Yeah.
Many parents are watching right now, and some of them have kids who have tech talents. And you could have gone to a university in Canada, right? How can that conversation come into training and all that in Nigeria today? Because not many people would take that gamble. Because, like we said off camera, the chances of you being what Theah Hoptics is today is it's too slim.
Yeah, it's really slim. A lot of things had to go right for me to kind of be sitting here right today. I think it's two things. First, my mom was sort of very exposed. She knows that there is more to life than just the traditional paths. Basically, not everyone is meant for that. People have different destinies. People have different paths in life. I think understanding your child, understanding what talents they may have, all this I was doing this way back in secondary school. I tried to build an autonomous learning.
It didn't just start in one day. It didn't just start in one day.
In fact, some teachers would call my mom and like stop him, get him to focus. But I think I give her that for understanding my true passion and kind of letting me do what I want to do. And I think the second is I had no choice really. It was like when you'll be surprised what the human mind is capable of when you only have one option. There's no option B. There's no option C or D or E.
Just go.
You just go. You put in this Herculean effort. And I think the universe just aligns.
Okay, so there's this drone we saw that's pulling like a car and all that. It's almost like it's the
Doma.
The Doma. It's like it does more than even just the pulling. What does the Doma do? What does the Doma really do?
Well, the Doma is we call it the beast basically. It's a multi-role ground drone capable of several capabilities. Basically, it could be reconfigured for logistics, for planting, for harvesting, for emergency response, and all that. Currently we have in the video where I was pulling a car, that is a 2-ton car right there. The Doma is also capable of going for up to 7 hours and 6 kilometers range. It was meant for the military at first. That's why it has a military-esque design. So a lot of
perhaps even in the name, the Doma.
Yeah,
I feel
a lot of our systems were originally built for the military, but when we kind of came out of that market, we repurposed them for civilian and industrial applications. So that's sort of why they have that sort of design.
Again, now you've talked about how almost everything you guys use is manufactured here, and we're talking of camera, and you said something about the sensors. What would it take for Nigeria to have a proper sensors production, like that? The sensors you guys have to import and stuff like that. What would it take?
It would take a proper semiconductor industry. What sort of makes all this work? The chips in there. I mean, you've heard of NVIDIA, which is currently the most valuable company in the world. TSMC and the rest. They were the ones that have built the semiconductor industry of the West. It would take a company alternative to that, but equally ambitious, to build that in Africa. That is the only way we can truly say, okay, for example, that we can manufacture everything. Because basically anything where that has the chips in there.
But we're not saying that the raw materials are not here.
No, the raw materials are there. We haven't just really had anyone that have stepped up to sort of take that semiconductor industry by the horn, and that ain't gonna be me though. My hands are full.
Yeah, okay. So if we're gonna move from, say, agriculture now to health, what kind of things can automation and robotics do for us? I mean, instantly when it comes to the health sector.
I mean, we have all heard of stories of people dying because of they couldn't get blood on time or drugs on time and all that. I think drug delivery, blood delivery, hospital to hospital, and also hospital to rural areas is going to change the game. These are the most immediate ways that I see our technology really changing and disrupting the status quo of the health industry right now.
All right, and finally, before you leave, what do you see as the future of drone productions in Nigeria, Africa? What do you see like the future of robotics and automation is in the next, say, 5 years?
I think in the next 5 years there will be many more startups and companies that like Theah. I think unlike sort of like outside the West now, drone production automation is going to be highly focused on what can we build to help solve our critical issues here in Africa. We must not emulate the West. The West, they basically don't have problems again.
They might argue that though.
All their problems
but the basic problems
are artificial. Yes, they don't have the foundational problem that Africa is facing today. So basically, to really build the right solutions, we have to look inwards. What are some of the critical issues that we are facing today that can't be solved? I also think that unlike the West, which is trying to go full-blown autonomy and all that, most solutions here will be more semi-autonomous.
Hybrid.
Yeah, more of that hybrid man-machine interface. We should not take the human factor out of that loop. So I think that's sort of the way I see it developing. I also think that in terms of volume, in 5 years' time, if we have more players in this space, we'll be able to beat the volumes of the West. Because the West, they focus more on low volume, high-end, exquisite systems. I think for Africa, I would like to say we should really just focus on just great enough to do the deed. Leave all the fancy features and all that is not necessary. Just build what is necessary to solve the problems at hand. Wow.
Nathan, thank you very much for coming on the program today.
Thank you so much. I loved this.
Thank you very much. All right. It's very insightful, on seeing how automation and robotics, can transform Nigeria's critical industries. The potential here is very enormous. And as we've discussed, the impact on food production and overall industry efficiency could be a game-changing one. Friends, as we look to the future, it's clear that embracing technology will be key to driving progress in Nigeria. Automation and robotics are not just tools. They are catalysts for innovation and growth. And until next time, I'm Sunes Nathaniel, and this has been The Beam. Stay informed, stay engaged, stay curious. God bless Nigeria.
Our fifth most viewed video of the week is from PoliticsToday, which discussed the fallout from the End Bad Governance protests alongside the politics within Nigeria's oil and gas industry.
It was embarrassing that queues are in the filling stations and petroleum products are not even available. Many are buying at 1,200 on the roadside.
In fourth place, we see former lawmaker and pro-democracy activist Uche Unyagocha argue that the judiciary is the source of Nigeria's problems.
And every 4 years, it's a ritual. They will do another amendment. So how many more amendments will they do? They don't even have the courage to tackle the real issues about the Constitution. They run away from the real issues.
Coming third in our countdown is a video of the health minister making a case for how Nigeria's new health policy will help bring back doctors who have fled the country to greener pastures.
You're free to leave, but we'll make it conducive for you that if you don't have to leave, you don't leave. And if you have left, how do you come back?
In second place, we have a video from PoliticsToday, and there we see a burning debate regarding the alleged raid on the NLC headquarters in Abuja and the APC leadership tussle in Rivers State.
The squad, let me use the squad now, went to ransack the Labour Secretariat. We had a target, we went to the Labour House, and we were able to trace a particular man to that place.
And our most viewed video of the week is a clip from Lunchtime Politics, and in it we see former lawmaker Shehu Sani reveal what 7 senators are earning, even as he says he used to be paid 13 million naira monthly.
What is credited into my account? At that time it was 13.5 million plus 750,000.
And that's it on our countdown today. Join us next week for more.